This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Thursday, September 15th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From Reuters, UK inflation falls for first time in nearly a year. The UK's Consumer Price Index rate dropped from July's 40-year high of 10.1% to 9.9% in August, representing the first decrease in not quite a year. Economists are warning that the CPI will likely pop back up again in October, maybe even peaking at 11%. But this represented a welcome, if maybe temporary, bit of news for folks who have seen prices on everyday essentials tick ever upward since the beginning of 2022. The CPI in the United States, on the other hand, increased by 0.1% in August, after a 0% increase from the previous month in July. And that startled investors who had largely expected a small drop, which in turn triggered the biggest stock sell-off since June of 2020. From the Irish Times, artists' hopeful €105 million basic income pilot will lead to sector-wide rollout. The Irish Department of Art has kicked off a basic income for the arts scheme that will provide 2,000 randomly selected Irish artists of various kinds with €325 each week for 3 years. This government-provided income is meant to serve as an experiment to see if folks who receive such funds, especially those working in oft-threatened, economically tricky creative fields, do better across a broad swath of metrics when they receive regular financial support. It's also meant to help the department determine if such schemes might be viable bulwarks against future pandemic-like upsets to various creative industries. And from the Associated Press, Armenia and Azerbaijan report 99 troops killed in border clash. The governments of Armenia and Azerbaijan have said that 49 and 50 of their troops, respectively, were killed on Tuesday during a period of fairly frantic artillery barrages and drone attacks across Armenian territory. These 2 former Soviet countries have been at each other's throats since before the collapse of the Soviet Union, and this brief conflict is just the most recent military conflagration to erupt on and around their shared border over the past decade or so, mostly but not exclusively over a chunk of land that both governments claim and which was officially put under Armenian control in 1994, but then partially seized by Azerbaijan during a 6-week war in 2020. That 2020 conflict ended with a Russia-brokered peace deal backed by the presence of a few thousand Russian troops, and the Russian government, alongside the international community, has urged calm and restraint following a subsequent day's worth of shooting and shelling, which has reportedly resulted in the deaths of at least several dozen more soldiers. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.